My name is Francis Wolf, and today I'll be reading to you a story from my book, I Swipe Right. But before that, I want to say thank you to Sharon Bakar, ZXU and Param for making this happen. So, the story we're reading to you today is called Unified Hearts, and it's actually the first story from this book. Hope you like it. Sonia closed the door as the last of the guests left. It was an eventful evening filled with old friends and fond memories. As she turned away from the door, Daniel, who was right behind, reached for her hand. He reassuringly arranged his fingers in between hers and brought both hands to his lips. He always knew exactly what to do. All their years together had made everything very natural. "I love you," he said with a smile. She led him into the kitchen. Inside, their granddaughter Alicia was slowly picking the chickpeas out of the salad bowl and popping them into her mouth. "Have they all left?" Alicia asked, her eyes and fingers fixated on the leftover salad. "I didn't think so many would turn up because of the rain earlier." "Oh yes, Lily," Sonia replied as she pulled out a chair to sit down. "They're all gone." Daniel gave Alicia a wink and kissed Sonia on the forehead. "I'll go and finish up." He went back to the hall to move the furniture back to the original spots. "It was a very beautiful party, Nanaso. I'm glad I came. Mom said I needed to get out of the house. She didn't want me feeling sad anymore about Chang," Alicia said with a wry smile. "Yes. Your mom told us about what happened." Sonia reached for a fork and joined Alicia in a salad sojourn. "I don't know how you and Gongda lasted so long. 50 years. There was a little bit of disbelief in her voice. Sonia gently scratched the top of her brow with her pinky. "Yes. I didn't want to celebrate our 50th anniversary, but your Gongda insisted it was a good idea. I think he just wanted to see all his old friends again. After your mom and your uncles got married, we felt there was no reason to organize get-togethers for everyone." 50 years? I've only lived slightly more than half of that, and it seems like an eternity. Alicia cradled her chin on her palms, looking into Sonia's eyes. "I wish things with Chang were a bit different. Unified Hearts matched us so well. I wish I was as lucky as you." Her smile faded as soon as she thought of her ex-boyfriend. "Aiya, Unified Hearts. You cannot put all faith in that or so, but I cannot blame you, to be honest." Sonia paused and pointed the fork right at Alicia. "I'll tell you a secret, okay?" Alicia's eyes widened and she smiled. She loved secrets. "Your Gongda and I met on a dating app on our phones," Sonia confided. Alicia leaned forward. "What's that?" "Last time, you could download apps for your phone, and this one was specifically for people to meet other people. Also, back when your Gongda and I were younger, our phones were a little different from what you have now. They were like small notebooks that we carried around everywhere. Everybody had one. In fact, I know some people who had 2 or 3. Sonia smiled. "Each with their own unique number." "What's the number for?" Alicia asked. She knew all her grandmother needed was some curious prodding, and she would happily tell all. "It was called a phone number. You would apply for a phone number from a company that gave you these numbers. In those days, there were quite a few companies doing this. This is how you communicated with somebody." "So, these numbers were like contact IDs?" Alicia asked, unconsciously looking at the contact ID on her wrist. "Oh yes. These days we all have contact IDs, but back then you could use the phone with as many different numbers as you like." "But how would I know it was you?" Alicia was curious. "Well, you remembered the number. My grandparents used to write these numbers down in little physical phone books. Your Gongda and I exchanged numbers once, and we never had to remember the number because it was stored on our phones. Now, of course, a facial scan is all that's needed. How would you know if Gongda had another number secretly? Well, you wouldn't, Sonia replied as she fished a tomato out of the bowl. Anyhow, we downloaded small applications to watch videos, view pictures, even, make new friends on our phones. So my best friend asked me to download one. It was called Ginger, or something like that. So what you did was, when you go to the application, there will be pictures of all these handsome guys for you to meet. And then what? Alicia immediately replied. And then, if you like the guy's face, you swipe right on the application. But you would only be able to talk to him if he swiped right back. Sonia raised the eyebrows to express the strangeness of how things used to be. That's pretty random and dangerous, isn't it? Alicia paused mid-chew. Oh, Lily, those were different times. We just went for it. So, there wasn't a unified hearts process? How would you know what the guy likes? Or what he is like? At least unified hearts, they capture all your activity history and your daily routines and match you properly. When they match you, it's already been calculated to fit right. Since everything is connected to the contact ID, the match is more likely to succeed. Sure, it wasn't perfect. Your Gongda and I had to go on numerous meetups to get to know one another. We would meet for food, watch films together, and to generally have a good time. Alicia was already laughing. It seemed like a lot of work to be with someone. For her, it was just a matter of time. The older she grew, the more information unified hearts would collect. With more information, the match would be even more likely to succeed. Did you see that boy that Auntie Doreen brought to our party just now? Quite handsome. I think I saw the both of you talking. What was his name again? Derek? Patrick? Sonia searched Alicia's face for a response. Despite her best efforts, Alicia started to blush. It's Cedric, she finally offered. I like him, but nothing is really happening there, Alicia quickly retorted. Our unified heart score is very low. Oh, so you checked? Sonia teased. Feeling vulnerable, Alicia reached for the jar of peanuts on the table. You know, Lily, my grandmother told me that when she was young, there was none of this help, and that she found my grandfather at a house party in Jalan Ipoh. Sometimes it's just better to seize the moment. Sonia made a gesture of 2 blossoming flowers with her hands. Daniel poked his head into the kitchen with a happy, "Hello! I think somebody left the umbrella in the garden." In his hand was a yellow umbrella. I'll leave it by the door in case anybody comes for it. I was just telling Lily about how we met and how my grandmother met my grandfather. Sonia turned with a smile. Oh, you mean the story about how we went to eat at the same place during lunch? Daniel waited to be prompted. No lah, the real one. With the Ginger app. Sonia cued him. It was not called Ginger lah. It was called Kinder lah. Ginger sounds like a cooking app. Where got Kinder? Sonia rolled her eyes. Don't forget to tell Lily how you chased for me for our first date. Daniel hurled a parting shot as he attempted to dodge Sonia's very accurate throw of the dishcloth. It hit him on the back of the head as he darted out the kitchen. Stupid man, Sonia huffed as Lily giggled. But your Gongda was very handsome. He was so shy and awkward when we finally met. I think I fell for him then. Sonia sighed. Who would have thought 50 years later? You know, to be honest, I was not the one who chose him on the app. Your grand aunt Molly was playing with the app on my phone. When she showed me his picture, at first glance, I was not interested. She swiped right anyways. Imagine my surprise when he messaged. To think that I almost missed the love of my life because I did not give him a second glance. Your Gongda and I grew to like each other. Sure, we had our arguments and needed time to adjust, but it was all part of the fun. Sonia laughed playfully, but Alicia was alarmed. What if Gongda was a murderer? What if the picture did not match the person who came? What if he robbed you? Goodness, so scary. It was exciting lah. Your Uncle Matthew got married using the Unified Hearts way. It was so... Sonia's face contorted and she stuck her tongue out in disgust. When I first saw your Auntie Mimi, your uncle had already told me they scored a 95% on the Unified Hearts test and that he would, marry him. It was so quick. I found out her full name only when I met her family. Aiyo. Sonia was shaking her head as she began to attack the bowl for more salad. You go. You make some mistakes. Mistakes are fun. Don't go overboard lah. Just keep things exciting, Sonia laughed. You should decide what feels right, not leave it to Unified Hearts. Just then, Unified Hearts chimed in as if it knew it was being talked about. 3 potential matches in the area, it said. Alicia looked down at the wristband and back at her grandmother. They both burst into laughter. The doorbell rang. Both grandmother and granddaughter instinctively turned to look at the kitchen door, as if a visitor would somehow waltz in. The doorbell rang again. Where is this old man? Sonia started to get out of her chair, but Alicia was already rushing to the door. I'll get it, she said. The doorbell rang a third time when she finally opened it. Her heart fluttered when she saw who it was. I think I left my umbrella here, the gentleman at the doorway said. Alicia, realizing her heart was racing. Yes, she said as she reached for the umbrella right beside the shoe rack. She handed him the umbrella, but she could feel his eyes on her. Looking up, she was right. It felt like he was looking right into her soul. Do you want to come out and hang out sometime, Cedric? She asked. Instinctively, immediately feeling mortified that she allowed it to escape. Cedric smiled broadly. I'd like that. I'd like that very much. Yeah, so that's it. Hope you like it. Thank you very much.